am coming to you again from the bath. It has been a very long day, it's been a very long week, and I am tired, and so it is 20 past 7 at night, and I am in the bath, and when I get out of the bath, I'm going to be going to bed, and if anyone doesn't understand why I might want to do that while raising 2 children and being pregnant with a third, then we are not on the same wavelength. Just a quick one today, a bit of a pregnancy update and a bit of a mind check-in. So pregnancy's going well. A few nights ago I felt the first sort of flutterings of movement, and then last night I had a couple of decent kicks. Now I'm only 15 weeks at the moment, so they're not like full on, you know, you're not going to see my belly moving or anything with the kicks. It's not going to be earthquake potential, but they were definitely there, and Nick felt one of them, so that's pretty good, and that's quite exciting, and I like that. It's one of my favourite parts of the second trimester is when you start feeling the kicks. It will happen more and more over the next few weeks. It was quite unusual to feel them at 15 weeks, at least for me. But I think maybe because I've been through this twice now, I know what the feeling is, I know what to look for, what the feeling kind of is. So, you know, when it does happen, I'm a bit more ready for what that would be. But yeah, that's very exciting. It's been a busy couple of weeks. We've had Eloise potty training. Now, before I go into it all, I'm going to tell you she has been amazing. She's done a really good job. She's very independent with it now. She sorts herself out, gets the potty in time, does wheeze, does poos. We had the first week was trying, but by the end of the second week, she had it nailed, and we had my brother's wedding to go to, and so she was wearing like a beautiful little dress, and she did not have a single accident all weekend, like the whole wedding. The following day when we had like a family lunch, like she was incredible. So I'm really super proud of her. She's done amazing. But for anyone who has ever potty trained a child, you will know it's not easy. It's not easy, and it's not particularly fun. And there's a lot. You just have to be prepared to do a lot of laundry, not just clothes, but you know, any soft furnishings you might have. And then there's a lot of tears as well, because they feel the disappointment. Like, I cried because it got so frustrating, but she cried too, because she was annoyed when, you know, she'd been sat on the potty for half an hour and nothing had happened, and then she stood up and she weed immediately. Like, that's frustrating for her too. But we got there, and I feel like we're in a really good place now. I think we're 3 weeks since we started, or almost 3 weeks since we started, and she's pretty solid, so I'm really proud of her. We're not dry at night yet. We're having some dry nights, but not every dry night. So she's going to be in nappies, probably for a little bit longer. But I'll follow her lead. There's no rush on that for me. So see how she goes. Rufus has had a tough couple of weeks. He always finds going back to school after the holidays a bit of an adjustment. I think kids do generally. It's a bit tiring. To sort of go back into a routine and actually having to focus and be present, and you can't just let your mind wander, which is what Rufus likes to do. So yeah, it's been a tough couple of weeks for him, but he seems to be enjoying himself now. And now that the weather's gotten a bit warmer, he seems to, I don't know, that always perks him up. He's definitely like me. He definitely suffers from a bit of SAD, and you know, the sun comes out and he immediately starts smiling. So hopefully, if we have a nice weekend, which it's supposed to be, have really nice time. It's a bank holiday weekend as well, so we can sort of rest a bit more than usual. I, as is becoming the norm, am getting into altercations, discussions, disagreements with people about issues that matter to me. There is something in UK education called collective worship. It is something that the government enforces, that every school must have a daily act of collective worship with a broadly Christian theme, because apparently we're still a Christian country. I don't actually agree that we're a Christian country anymore. I mean, you know, technically we are, but I don't think we really are. But anyway, that's that's the guidelines, that's the rule, the law, whatever you want to call it. And I have recently discovered that the collective worship at Rufus's school includes a sort of fortnightly visit from a local priest, which I wasn't aware of before. Apparently, well, it is on the website. I found it on the website, but it's buried deep, you know. It's not in an obvious place, and it's definitely not highlighted. And it wasn't spoken about when we started at school. It's not advertised anywhere in the school, and I am uncomfortable with it. There's one thing having acts of collective worship and religious education led by teachers. Who are, you know, required to remain objective. And then there's having a religious leader, and only from one denomination as well, coming in and one religion, coming in and, you know, basically, as far as I can tell, offering a sermon to my child. And we don't take Rufus to church. We are, as a family, atheist slash agnostic. And, well, I would say atheist. We don't believe in a God. Let's go with atheist. Yeah, so, you know, for my child to then sort of be asked to pray, which they claim is a choice, but come on, how many 5-year-olds do you know can understand the choice between praying and not praying when all of their friends around them are putting their hands together and bowing their heads, and the very nice, charismatic man on the stage is doing the same? You know, it's very hard for them to make that distinction. So yeah, I haven't actually myself made any contact with the school about it. I mean, I did a year ago, just to kind of figure out exactly what went on. And I don't think, although he technically didn't lie at the time, he wasn't entirely transparent about exactly what it would involve and how frequently this priest would be there. So I feel like, basically I feel like there's a lack of transparency, and that makes me quite uncomfortable. And I've spoken with lots of other parents in the school who have children in the higher year groups as well, and they have never heard of this person, they've never heard of this priest, which to me suggests there is a level of, you know, covert collective worship going on. And I think that that's a slightly dodgy situation. So anyway, we're getting into that, which is fun. I'm going to get myself such a reputation, but I'm just exercising my parental right to say I don't want my child exposed to something that I don't think he's old enough to understand. If Rufus ends up being a Christian or a Muslim or Buddhist or Sikh or whatever he ends up being when he's older, I want it to be when he's old enough to make that choice himself, and to have read around the subjects and to have looked at the different stories and the books and the, you know, experience the religions in person by attending the, you know, appropriate venues. I don't want Christianity shoved down his throat at school. So, you know, certainly not at an age when he's not, you know, as smart as my kid is and as smart as kids can be. You know, he's too young to understand the implications of it all, and it makes me unhappy. So anyway, all that aside, that's just how I feel, and it is my parental right to remove him from those sessions. And we're getting a bit of pushback from the school. They don't seem particularly happy with the idea of us doing that, but the law says it's my parental right to do so, so I will. As are a few of our friends as well, who have been have had this highlighted to them. Anyway, now the other thing I want to talk about quickly was more pregnancy related. So if that's what you came here for, that's what you're going to get now. It's not very fun though. If you've ever been pregnant, or if you are just starting your pregnancy journey, there's something that you will have been told or will get told, that you should gain no more than about 2.5 stone, which is, let me do the maths, is about 34 pounds, 35 pounds, something like that. Now, that's lovely. That's a really lovely idea that someone cooked up somewhere along the lines. And I'm sure that if you are starting out from a point of being overweight, yes, you don't want to be gaining, you know, infinite number of pounds. But at the same time, you are growing a human being, and if you're like me and you have other children that you're raising, or you have a job that you're trying to hold down at the same time, you are going to be exhausted. And you know what happens when you're tired? You eat. And you know what's not the end of the world? Putting on a little bit more than 2.5 stone. But every book you read, every blog you go on, every, you know, pregnancy website there is, they will tell you do not put on more than 2.5 stone. Well, I have put on, I haven't actually weighed myself, but I've probably put on over a stone, and I'm only 15 weeks. So you can see where this is going. I'm probably going to gain more than 2.5 stone. I know that I did with Eloise. I don't think I did with Rufus, but that was a different kettle of fish. I certainly did with Eloise. And it took a while to lose it. And you know what? That's okay too. And, you know, my reasons for it taking a while to lose it after Eloise was that I was dealing with postnatal depression, I was dealing with PTSD, I was dealing with feeling very lonely and isolated, and so it was really, really difficult to motivate myself to eat less. All I wanted to do was eat burgers and fries and chocolate and just to feel a bit better for a while. But even if that isn't your situation, even if you're not suffering with postnatal or anything like that, you are still entitled to take your time to lose the weight. And I'm so sick of these pregnancy websites that are supposed to be encouraging and supportive and helpful, almost shaming you for the amount of weight you gain. If you look at some of the celebrities that have had babies, look at like Kate Hudson, and I'm struggling to think of any celebrity right now, but Anna Faris, when she was pregnant, so many celebrities, when they were pregnant, gained way more than the prescribed amount. I mean, thankfully for them, or luckily for them, they have trainers to get them back into what is considered an appropriate weight for a woman. But for the rest of us, who gives a shit? I mean, really, it's okay. It is okay to put on weight in your pregnancy. You are growing a human being. It is okay to not lose it within the first month of giving birth. It is okay if you never completely lose it, because you grew a human being. It's okay. And it doesn't matter. And it's very hard for me to understand that sometimes, because I do have issues with my weight, and I do have a little bit of body dysmorphia and a tendency towards unhealthy thoughts in that area. So I really, really struggle with this. But at the same time, I can see how unhelpful the supposedly supportive websites are in helping women deal with this particular part of pregnancy. The only person that you actually need to listen to on this is your healthcare professional, whether that be a midwife or a doctor or whoever it may be. If your midwife says that you might be gaining too much weight, have a conversation with her. Don't get offended immediately. Have a little conversation with her. Now, I remember wondering with Eloise whether I was gaining too much, because I kind of knew I was close to passing the 2.5 stone mark. And she said, no, you are absolutely fine. Like, there are women who are twice the size of you that come in here, and I tell them that they are completely fine. It is absolutely fine to gain weight in your pregnancy. Now, if my midwife can tell me that and make me feel better, then that's great, and yours can do the same. So just the only time you need to be concerned is when they seem genuinely concerned. And that doesn't happen that often, because for most people, you gain what you need to gain for whatever reason that you're gaining it. With me, it is because I am not only growing a human, but also trying to raise 2 others, and I'm tired all the time. So if I'm not sleeping, I'm eating, because it's the way I get it's the way I'm sustaining myself. Anyway, that's my little rant for now. I'll probably do another video where you can see the bump, because it's getting pretty sizable now. My body definitely knows what it's doing. But until then, please, if you enjoyed this video, subscribe and see more of these videos. Hopefully not all from the bathtub, but I can't guarantee it. And you can click the like button if you enjoyed this particular video, and you can also click the notification button if you have subscribed, so you can find out every time I post a new video. Alright, well I hope you are all well, and I will talk to you soon. Bye!